There were certain times and places in history when communities of Christians have experienced the power of Mary's intervention in most dramatic ways. One of the greatest victories of all time took place at the naval battle of Lepanto in Greece. A mighty Turkish fleet threatened to invade and overrun all of Europe. Saint Pope Pius V called for rosary crusades and Blessed Sacrament processions everywhere. The Christian forces aboard their tiny fleet publicly prayed the rosary and received the sacraments before going into battle against their enemies who outnumbered them with bigger and more powerful ships. At first, the Christian fleet fared badly, but suddenly, in the midst of battle, the wind which had been against them changed in their favor. This threw the Turkish fleet into confusion, with one ship shooting another. As the battle raged into the late afternoon, a great storm arose, sinking many more of the Turkish ships. Finally, the few that remained fled in confusion, and the boastful Turkish power over the Mediterranean was broken. To commemorate the victory of the naval battle in Lepanto, Pope Pius V ordered the institution of the Feast of the Most Holy Rosary on October 7, 1571, and the addition of the invocation Auxilium Christianorum Ora Pro Nobis in the Litany of the Blessed Virgin Mary. In 1683, the Blessed Virgin Mary again came to the help of Christian arms against the Muslim Turks near the walls of Vienna, Austria. Emperor Leopold I took refuge in the shrine of Mary Help of Christians in Passau, Germany. Mary Help was the rallying cry of Christendom as Pope Innocent XI led Catholics in prayer. And through the help of the Blessed Mother, Vienna and the whole of Europe were miraculously freed. In thanksgiving, Pope Innocent XI formed the first confraternity of Mary Help of Christians. The first shrine in honor of Mary Help of Christians was constructed from 1624 to 1627 on a hill overlooking Innsbruck, Passau, Germany. The shrine housed the copy of the miraculous painting of Lucas Cranach the Elder. The painting entitled Maria Hilf, or Help Us Mary, became the rallying cry to live through the difficult 30 Years' War in Germany. In 1809, rosary petitions once again went up for Mary's help. Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte had responded to his excommunication by abducting Pope Pius VII with the intention of pressuring him to sign a treaty that would give the emperor powers over the church and state in France and in all conquered territories. While Christians everywhere prayed to Mary for the frail, exiled pontiff at Fontainebleau, Napoleon met his Waterloo and was forced to sign his abdication from power. On May 24, 1814, Pope Pius VII returned home from his 5-year exile to a tumultuous reception in Rome. A year later, in 1815, Pope Pius VII consecrated that same day perpetually to Mary and instituted the Feast of Mary Help of Christians to commemorate the unhoped-for help of Mary Most Holy towards the Pope and the Christian people. In due time, other dioceses and entire nations followed suit and initiated yearly celebrations of the same feast. In 1948, bishops in Poland asked the Holy See to extend the religious group and celebration of the Feast of Mary Help of Christians to their nation. One of the signatories of the petition was a newly elected bishop, by the name of Karol Wojtyła, the late Pope John Paul II. Other nations, such as Australia and Colombia, adopted Mary Help of Christians as their national patroness. Saint John Bosco, the man destined by God to be an apostle of Mary Help of Christians, was born on August 16, 1815, in Becchi, Italy, the same year that the Feast of Mary Help of Christians was instituted. Had Don Bosco not given new interest in the propagation of devotion to Mary Help of Christians, it might have remained in obscurity. In March 1862, a painting of Mary in a rundown church near Spoleto in Frata had spoken to a little boy named Rigoletto Chionci. Then on March 19, 1862, a young farmer was miraculously cured by the image. Crowds of people went to the miraculous image, and it was seen by many to shed tears. The Archbishop Amaldi of Spoleto officially named the image Our Lady Help of Christians, convinced that this title was the most suitable in every respect. Don Bosco learned of these miraculous events in Spoleto, and he joyfully narrated them in his Goodnight Talk on May 24, 1862. In 1863, a vision of Our Lady appeared to Don Bosco, asking him to build a church to honor her as Mary Help of Christians. Aspiring to realize Mother Mary's request, Don Bosco started working against all odds, with lack of funds and the presence of a strong anti-clerical act by civil officials during that time. With strong devotion to Mary Help of Christians and Jesus Christ, he built the church under miraculous circumstances, with financial help coming from practically unknown devotees. In 1865, Don Bosco asked the artist Thomas Lorenzone to paint the picture of Mary Help of Christians. After 3 years of work, the painting was finished and put in its place over the main altar of the basilica. Don Bosco's description of the painting was, Our Lady stands out in the center, bathed in light and majesty. She is surrounded by ranks of angels, who are doing her honor as their queen. In her right hand she holds a scepter, the symbol of her power, and on her left arm she carries the child Jesus with his arms outstretched as a sign of the graces and mercy he offers to all who have recourse to his royal mother. At each side and underneath are the holy apostles and evangelists, exalted in ecstasy as though exclaiming, Queen of the Apostles, pray for us. While gazing in wonder at the Holy Virgin, at the lower part of the painting is shown a portion of the city of Turin, with the sanctuary of Valdoco in the foreground, and the sanctuary of Superga in the rear. In 1868, Don Bosco completed the Grand Basilica of Mary Help of Christians in Turin, Italy. It has become the center of devotions and mother church of over 150 shrines dedicated to Mary Help of Christians around the world, including the Philippines. Devotion to Mary under the title Help of Christians saw its birth in the Philippines with the appointment of Salesian Archbishop William Piani as apostolic delegate to the Philippines. In 1922, he brought the statue of Mary Help of Christians to Manila. The statue was first enthroned at the Manila Cathedral. In 1942, during the Japanese occupation, the statue of Mary Help of Christians was brought to Our Lady of Loreto Church in Sampaloc, Manila for safekeeping. During the years it was there, the Association of Mary Help of Christians in the Philippines was organized. The association continuously offered novenas and masses every 24th day of each month to Our Lady. Perhaps due to Archbishop Piani's influence, many parishes adopted Mary Help of Christians as titular and patroness. In 1951, the first group of Salesians of Don Bosco arrived in the Philippines. They were surprised to learn of the existence of the devotion to Mary Help of Christians, as shown in churches dedicated under this title. Then in 1955, the Daughters of Mary Help of Christians, or better known as the Salesian Sisters, arrived in the Philippines and helped spread the devotion to Mary Help of Christians. These Salesians helped build the works of Don Bosco in our country. The first shrine in the Philippines dedicated to Mary Help of Christians was solemnly blessed and inaugurated in 1969 by Archbishop Carmine Rocco, Apostolic Nuncio, and Bishop Pedro Bantigue of San Pablo at the Don Bosco Seminary in Canlubang, Laguna. But all the while, the whole Salesian family fixed their gaze upon a bigger sanctuary to be built in Metro Manila, where Mary could welcome devotees in the tradition left by Don Bosco at the Basilica of Mary Help of Christians in Turin. On May 24, 1972, the cornerstone of the temple was laid by Archbishop Rocco in the land donated by the Serrano and Dolor families in Better Living Subdivision, Parañaque City. Block by block, the shrine rose from the ground. Mary Help of Christians would finally have a home of her own. On June 27, 1975, His Eminence Jaime Cardinal Sin, Archbishop of Manila, decreed the establishment of the new parish of Mary Help of Christians. On July 24, 1975, Cardinal Sin conferred canonical possession of the new parish to Father Pierangelo Quaranta as its first parish priest. Father Quaranta, with a host of parishioners and benefactors, spearheaded the completion of the church, which was solemnly consecrated on December 4, 1976, during the Silver Jubilee Year celebrations of Salesian presence in the Philippines. As pastor, Father Quaranta zealously spread the devotion to Mary Help of Christians among the parishioners. To date, the statue of Mary Help of Christians is enthroned at prominent street corners of the parish. On August 15, 1985, as the Filipinos celebrated Marian Year, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines declared the Shrine of Mary Help of Christians as a national shrine. On August 24, 1985, Archbishop Bruno Torpiliani, with His Eminence Jaime Cardinal Sin and many bishops in attendance, presided over the official ceremony that bestowed upon the church the title of a national shrine. Present too were Father Thomas Panaquezam, Regional Councilor and representative of the Rector Major of the Salesian Society, Father Lazaro Revilla, the Provincial Superior, along with members of the Salesian family, guests, sponsors, and parishioners. Father Leo Drona, who would later become Bishop of San Jose, Nueva Ecija, was appointed the first rector of the National Shrine. In 1994, the National Shrine welcomed one of the earliest known statues of Mary Help of Christians in the country. It was one of the statues Archbishop William Piani himself brought to the Philippines. The image was solemnly transferred from Our Lady of Loreto Church to the Shrine of Mary Help of Christians, finally in a sanctuary of her own. Today, the shrine stands as the monument of gratitude of the Salesian family here in the Philippines to Mary.
Tu ci copri col tuo manto, tu proteggi ogni uomo, oh Maria Vergine potente, tu per noi porto sicuro, dal mare in tempesta, tu che sei stella del mattino, guidaci Maria, tu porti nel mondo la luce vera, prega per noi Gesù.
And as the center of the Filipinos' devotion to her as the help of Christians.